This episode of the Living Force podcast is rated Padawan Plus due to language and descriptions of alcohol. This episode is not intended for the younglings.
You're listening to
The Living Force,
a Utini podcast.
Where are you going, Master? For a drink?
Force Toast collaboration.
You want a cup of Java juice?
On this episode,
Happy Hour with the Force Toast podcast.
You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
with your hosts,
Corey Hilton.
You want to buy some death sticks?
Eric Eilerson.
I don't want to sell the death sticks.
And Charles Hankel.
We don't serve their kind here.
Wow, okay, wow, this is that kind of episode.
Well, Al, if you were on Twitter, Corey, and actually paid attention to my tweets like a friend, you'd know that Alice is sick. So I tweeted that I would drink a little more for both of us. So I'm trying to help.
How nice of you.
Appreciate it.
It's the little things I can do when I have a day off tomorrow.
Friends
you know?
don't let friends not.
Exactly.
No one's drinking alone. I've got a dirty vodka martini going here, so I'm
What?
ready.
Beautiful. Yeah, I have this. I don't think you're in here yet. This Natty Light lemonade thing.
It's so good. Don't
It's
crap
good.
out.
No, I'm not. Sorry, my voice just, when I say the words Natty Light, naturally go into a shit tone because it's garbage, but this is actually good.
That one's not. It's that one's good.
I did not know that they made a lemonade version. That is
Okay,
interesting.
listen. All right, let me give you my spiel because I've given everybody the spiel. All right, so Natty Light is disgusting. Natty Light has this weird. Hold it up to the camera, Eric. It's this weird like lemonade summer drinking beer, and it does not taste anything like Natty Light. It's just super good. Like if someone were to hand it to you in a glass at a brewery, you would not even bat an eye at it because it's tasty.
Here's my thing. I'm all about like a light, summery, citrus, whatever beer. So I'm not gonna knock it till I've tried it. I'm totally game.
I'm gonna knock it. I've never tried it.
It's
I'm
delicious.
disappointed in you, Eric, for letting Corey influence you like this.
I'm usually like a beer snob on this show, but I came on one time and they gave me so much crap for drinking this Natty Light stuff, and I'm just like, it's good.
I'd
Whatever.
try it, no questions asked.
It's
Yeah,
good. It's really easy
that's
to drink.
Alice's brand, though. She likes such shitty beer no matter what.
Jedi business. Go back to your drinks.
Well, man, if you like shitty beer and you like somewhat less shitty podcast, then you are in the right place, because this is The Living Force, episode 16. Our first collaboration with the incredible people from Force Toast. I, as always, am one of your hosts, Eric, and with me are 4 other people. I know, it's a crowded room today. First of all, we have Dr. Corey Helton. Welcome.
What up, what up?
We have Dr. Charles Hankel.
Hey there, how's it going?
It's going great. It's better because usually I'm stuck with you two, but today I additionally have Alice from Force Toast. Hello.
Yo.
And Laura from Force Toast. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Of course. So as some listeners may remember, I met Alice and Laura way back when at a glorious trivia night in the best city on earth, Chicago, Illinois. And after beating the system to get way better gift cards than we should have, we exchanged some info and we set this up. So it's been a long time coming, and we're so happy to have them on the show. Before we get into anything, Alice and Laura, I want to give you guys the floor to tell our listeners, what is Force Toast? How long have you guys been doing it? What's the whole spiel? The floor is completely yours.
Yay, thank you. So the full name of our show is Force Toast, a Star Wars happy hour. And in general, we just drink wine and talk about Star Wars. That's the short elevator pitch. So usually it's like whatever's in the news about films, TV shows, any new novels or anything that have come out. We quiz each other every episode. And if you're not into explicit shows, we may not be the show for you because we swear an awful lot. But yeah, it's really fun. We launched back in February of this year, so 2019, and it's been a wild ride. It's been really fun so far. We have a lot of fun on Twitter, and we have a lot of fun hanging out talking Star Wars. It's just, it's a good time. We're enjoying it so far.
Yeah, if anyone listening needs for me, it's a really good listen at the gym, because I hate everything about the gym. So listening to you guys just drink and be funny about my favorite universe kind of makes me forget every horrible thing happening to my body. So that's my recommendation for Force Toast.
I actually listen to you guys every week. I genuinely do. And I enjoy your stuff a lot. And I was laughing because I know last episode you said that you guys were slowly turning into Alice and Laura's book club, essentially. And now here you are on a dedicated Star Wars book podcast. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's funny, Eric. You're not the first person who said that they listen to us at the gym. We have a ton of people recently who like they're running, they're prepping for marathons, they're just randomly at the gym, and that's where they listen.
I think a lot of people listen to podcasts at the gym. I can't do that. Like I have to hear like
I
bumping
can't
music
either.
or
I have
something.
to be getting pumped up by music, or I refuse to be there.
Same.
I think the great thing about listening to podcasts at the gym for me is I would rather be doing anything than working out, so I'd rather be thinking about something fun. Because even if it's music, it's still telling me, oh, you're doing this because you're at the f***ing gym. Sorry, Matt. And you just kind of got to deal with it.
Yeah, we might have to bleep out some of those this episode, but that is okay, and that's totally fine. We were kind of talking before the show. I had the pleasure of I don't think I formally met you guys, unless I met you guys at the podcast party, that little meetup. And were you guys at that? At the Hyatt? Was that Hyatt? The hotel? Little podcast meetup?
We were definitely there.
Okay.
We were kind of all over the place, and we'd had a lot to drink. So
sure.
if we met, it wouldn't be the most surprising thing.
No.
So, I don't know if we actually did meet face to face, but I also went to that to Rogue Squadron's little party. I was actually at that too, and I heard you guys talk at that. We were talking before the show kind of about that, and that was a lot of fun. Rogue Squadron put together sort of a little I don't know, what would you call it, like a live podcast hangout at a local brewery up in Chicago at Celebration this year, and it was.
We still haven't gone back and listened to the audio.
Oh my god, that was so much fun! It was so much fun to listen to. It was like Saturday Night Live or something, man. It was like a live show, and it was really fun to watch and stuff. So we liked it. I liked it so much that I came back and raved about it. And Utini is talking about doing something similar next year at Celebration. So. And
you know what? I'm going to start now in my drinking prep for that, because I think that if I'm going to be drinking in front of all of our listeners, who we all love so dearly, I need to get some endurance built up so I can remember some of the podcasts. So that's my goal for next year.
I say just wing it. Do what we did. We just wung it. Is that
you guys killed it? Killed it though.
Wung it.
Killed it. You looked like you belonged there, and it was perfect.
Oh, thank you. That's really, really nice, because we were really nervous, and that's why we still haven't gone back and listened to it, because we just don't want to hear it.
I mean, there was the heckling in the audience, and you guys handled that flawlessly. It was really well done. I was super entertained.
Yes,
that's awesome. Thank you.
So yeah, we're so happy to have you guys on. We're gonna play a couple games in this episode that are gonna link our two sensibilities together. But before we do that, a couple little businessy things. I wanted to brag for a second, guys, because this last week, me and my girlfriend finished our watch of Clone Wars. She had never seen it before, and she didn't get anything spoiled. Like, she did not know that Ahsoka left the Jedi Order. She didn't know anything. And I got to Ahsoka's her favorite character. So this past week, I got to see someone I truly care about watch their favorite character leave the Jedi Order in real time.
That's amazing.
That's
it was
awesome.
astounding. And we're doing Rebels next, and she knows nothing and listens to this show. Ugh, I can't wait.
We won't spoil it this week then. Let's wait till after she gets through some good stuff. So.
Yeah, but it had me thinking, like, have you guys done that in a while? Like, been able to show Star Wars to someone that you know that is actually interested but somehow has avoided any spoilers?
I have a funny story about this.
Go.
Yeah,
okay.
My answer's no, so go, Laura.
Okay, so this wasn't actually like, you say like somebody you care about. That really actually wasn't the case. But so I had this situation one summer, I think, where I was like, I was using all of the apps, you know, like the Tinder and the Hinge and the whatever. And so I was dating two guys, and one of them was like a big Star Wars fan, which is really fun. He was like a big Clone Wars guy. And the other one had not seen a single Star Wars movie ever. So I had like two very different dudes. And I had this one day, and this guy knew that I was a big Star Wars fan. So he's like, well, why don't, you come over? I was like, I don't know. I don't date that long, honestly. Things always end much sooner than I would guess.
Don't get out of there, yeah.
Yeah, so this was probably like maybe second, third, fourth date, I don't know. And I go over to her, he's like, why don't you come over and we'll watch the movie, and you can like show me this whole thing that you love. And I was like, cool, that sounds fun.
Awesome.
Sure, yeah. So I came over and we watched A New Hope, and this is just ridiculous. But
You're fine.
It's really funny watching that movie for the first time with somebody who's never seen it, because there's these really, really long stretches of just like robots in the deserts not doing anything. And it's so incredibly boring. And I'm like literally sitting there, I was like, oh my God, I promise it gets better than this. Like, it felt so weird. I felt like I had to like sit there and defend it or something. It was really strange.
Funny.
But then there was also the thing like when you're over at like somebody's house and you're dating and you're new and they just want to like mess around, like make out and stuff. And I was just like, this is important. Pay attention. Like, God.
Yes. Oh my, like. It's such a real thing, especially with Star Wars, because there's so many like things that we all find iconic, and everyone has their certain favorite bits. And especially if they haven't seen it yet, you're like, no. You have to watch these little sand gremlins in the desert grab this robot, because it becomes really important when the guy tries to move the little ball with his mind later on.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta understand all this.
We do talk about A New Hope aging super well, but I think that's because we're all incredibly biased. It really hasn't aged that well. Empire has aged a lot better, but A New Hope it really shows
it's just
age.
a really slow start through some of those scenes on Tatooine, and like they're really beautiful and striking and iconic. Just those wide shots of the robots in the desert, and the Ralph McQuarrie art. If you know all of that, it's kind of cool. But when you're like a person who's used to sort of a modern action movie being very actiony at the very beginning from start to finish, I mean, it was a very strange. I don't know. It was awkward, but yeah, it was a really funny experience. I don't know if we saw each other again after that.
That's
good
fantastic.
times. Maybe I turned him into a fan. Who knows? I mean,
maybe he's listening now. Hey,
maybe he's on some other podcast right now talking about this crazy chick that made him sit through this really boring space movie.
Yeah.
He's on a Star Trek podcast, and he's like, guys, I don't get the other side.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
He's like, I've made contact with the other side, and they're weird.
But it's so real. I mean, when I was my current girlfriend was the same way when we got together. She hadn't seen any of the movies, and we did the crash course. And luckily, she stuck through them all. And like this week, she's coming to visit me, and we're gonna watch 7 and 8 back to back in the same day on her request, which is like the hottest thing anyone's ever said to me. But it's interesting. The ones that she's like latched onto are like the sequel trilogy, and Rogue One and Solo is like her favorite, and it is the newer ones. And I do honestly wonder if there's a way to come into it fresh in 2019 without knowing anything, and having like A New Hope be your favorite, or have, I mean, Empire I can get, but even like Jedi was my favorite for years. It's still maybe, I mean, it's up there, but I think just coming in fresh, the filmmaking is so fucking good now. You know what I mean?
It's just a very different style now.
Yeah.
Like things evolve and change, and the style of everything is so different from what it was in the 70s and 80s. It's really hard to compare. But I mean, I'm a fairly new fan, so I didn't really become a Star Wars fan until like 2014, 2015. Like watching the trailer for The Force Awakens is what like really drew me in.
Yeah.
And my favorite of the original trilogy is Return of the Jedi. But to be honest, the original trilogy isn't my favorite. Like if I have to pick a trilogy, it's the sequel trilogy for me as it stands now. But
is it any of our favorites on the show? I don't think it is.
Yeah, no. I mean, mine.
Is anybody's number one film on top an original trilogy film?
Nope.
Empire might be mine.
Really?
Prequels.
Rogue One is my favorite film.
I'm
honestly,
with you, Scott.
prequel...
Mine is. Or I'm sorry, with Corey. Mine's Rogue One.
Prequels for
Rogue One's my favorite
life.
film.
Attack of the Clones is my favorite. Hot take.
What?
I
Everybody
respect
hates that movie.
No, I respect that.
Listen, Alice, I did not even find out until recently that was like the most despised movie. I always thought that Phantom Menace was the most hated, and like I love Attack of the Clones also because like it has nostalgia for me, I guess. So
It's
I don't
so
know.
pretty.
And
there's so much
Yeah.
action, and just the music's so good.
And the clones are awesome.
Yes.
They're so
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, and it increases the lightsabers in the saga by like 200-fold.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's a good point.
And then we
That's
have
a good
surprise Yoda. Ah, so good.
Yeah, that moment still gives me chills. I got to say, like, someone was talking to me a while back that's saying, "Well, yeah, when I was a kid, Yoda pulls the lightsaber out and I liked it, but now I'm like, that's so dumb." I'm like, incorrect, sir. I still get chills because the little Muppet grabs a lightsaber, and that's awesome. It's faking in space, everybody.
Magic.
Oh man! So now that we have divided the listening audience as much as humanly possible, I want to get into a couple more things. Business-wise, over at Utini.com, which is, if you're new here, the website that three of us run, our review of Thrawn Treason just went up last week. Charles wrote it very well, I gotta say. I edited it and got to read his gloriousness and made, like, no changes, so that was very nice for me. Thanks, dude. But he compiled all of our thoughts throughout our Utini team, and if you want to go check that out, feel free. It's pretty fair and balanced, I gotta say. It's not one of our highest rated books we've ever had, but Charles made a great point about some of the really positive things about the book, some of the cool things about its direction. Charles, do you want to hit any kind of non-spoilery highlights about that?
Well, I think that we'll go into this a lot more whenever we do our, full roundtable review, but I think what I want to encourage everyone to do is really look at the book as objectively as you can, not bring in like all of your thoughts on the character of Thrawn, about like how much you like the character, how well you think he's been brought into canon as opposed to how he was in Legends. Just like approach the book for the story that it is, and I think you'll walk away with some really positive feelings because it's got a lot of really cool aspects. And the other thing to bring up is that a lot of people are calling this the end of a trilogy, which it very well may be, but I don't think it's the end of Thrawn's story. So some people felt a little bit let down, said that maybe not enough happened, but I think more is coming. And I don't know what form that's going to come in, but it's definitely coming.
Nice. Now, Alice and Laura, are either of you especially Thrawn fans, whether it be from Rebels, books, etc.?
I enjoy him in the books a lot more, and I think it's because the writing, the way that Timothy Zahn does like his thought process, where you can just kind of see how he's analyzing things is really cool. Just started Treason last night, so I don't have any comments. I'm just stoked for the bitch fight that's going on between him and Krennic. But
that's my favorite part of the book is the bitch fight
too.
between Tarkin, Krennic, and Thrawn. I want a mini series of that. I want that board meeting for hours.
They're just taking out their earrings and taking off their jewelry and gonna slap each other.
That actually, listen, that might be like a super fun, like maybe even an animated show or a live action show, even of just like all the politics of the Empire. That would be so fun to watch, like Thrawn and Krennic and Tarkin. Like that was my favorite part of the book too.
But now I'm just imagining what kind of earrings Thrawn would wear when he has to take off. Like, is he a hoop person? Does he have little, like classy economic studs?
He'd totally be like Golden Girls clip-ons that are just these big round circles of some plastic thing.
Oh my god.
I could see that. Thrawn would look like a straight pirate if he had big hoop earrings with his red eyes and blue skin. He would be like real pirate looking.
He'd be like, well, if I got real earrings, it would be too inefficient for combat. He needs clip-ons because they're easier to take off.
That's right.
Always with the tactics, that one.
Oh my god, shopping with him would be a goddamn nightmare. Like, Thrawn, try this print. It is too drawing for enemies. No, you look good in it. Like, just wear it. Wear a plaid, you bastard. All right, I've changed my new Disney Plus wish list. That's what I want.
Oh my god.
I have to say, I really enjoy the Lars Mikkelsen performance. I think that I really enjoy the books, but I absolutely love that voice acting performance. I think it's just so spot on, so genius. Knowing nothing about the Legends character, that's it. I have not read a single Legends book. I knew nothing about Thrawn going into season 3 of Rebels. My introduction to Thrawn was in season 3 of Rebels, so I love it. I love that performance, and I only read, I think we already talked about it, I've read Thrawn Alliances. I'm 97% done with the first Thrawn book now. I've read this trilogy out of order. But it is really, really intriguing to be coming at this from the point of view of someone who has seen all of Rebels and knows how Rebels ends. And to see like the Arinda Price character from this point in her life is absolutely fascinating. Because at first I found her very relatable. And now I'm just like, oh my god, this evil bitch. I swear to God. Like, it's just wild how, like, out of control and, like, manipulative she is. But the Thrawn character, in particular, I really enjoy. I say that also as, like, a huge Sherlock Holmes character. I find him very Sherlock Holmesy. And Timothy Zahn's writing is a very sort of Arthur Conan Doyle inspired type of writing that I enjoy. So, yeah, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, Holmes has come up a ton in our conversations, and I'm very similar to you, Laura. I watched Rebels before I read Thrawn as well, and I went back and I read the Legends trilogy last summer after I read so I went Rebels, Canon Thrawn, Legends trilogy, Thrawn Alliances. It was a really weird order, but I think out of all of those, honestly, the Rebels Thrawn is, I think, my favorite. I love, like you said, that performance is incredible. I think he works great as a villain.
Yeah.
Because it's fun to have a villain that can always outsmart you, and it's legitimately terrifying. So yeah, I'm excited to see what you guys think of when you finish Thrawn Treason. If you're listening, if you like Thrawn Treason, or even if you didn't, go on and head over to Utini and leave a user review, which I want to go to real quick. We got one. We got a user review at Utini from Jonathan M. over on the Thrawn Treason's book profile page. Oh boy, there's that whiskey. He entitled his review Inconsequential Book, but it's a 3 out of 5. So it went like this. While I cannot say that I didn't like this book, it's just inconsequential. I still liked the reading itself, but Zahn was given a few weeks or so of time to fit in a story to the point that it could probably have never been written and nobody would really notice. Characters like Aralani and Ronan are welcome additions, and I love seeing Thrawn as well as Eli and Pharaoh, but there is a stipulation due to the fact that Star Wars Rebels exists that Thrawn cannot grow or change. And then he says, I mean, he's already the GOAT, but you catch my drift. There are a few cool and fun things that somewhat expand the canon lore, but overall, it's not required reading unless the Grisks or Chiss will play a part in the rise of Skywalker, which may or may not happen. So
his exact words are, which is not gonna happen.
Okay, I tried to be a little nicer about that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, I agree with him. I would be shocked if they put the Grisk in. I mean, Rise of Skywalker is done. All right, it's been done. And this book was the timing doesn't work out, right? It doesn't work out.
Yeah, so we'll see. But basically, I wanted to bring that up purely because Jonathan M., you are, as far as I know, or as far as I've been looking, one of our first reviews on Utini.com. So I want to encourage...
he's one of the first, I think, 10 or so reviews we ever had. He is the first person to review Thrawn. So we've been meaning to hype this up on the show before, but so if you're listening, go to Utini.com /book/Thrawn Treason is actually the exact URL if you just want to go right to it. But if you click on the book either on the timeline or you search for it on the site, you can find the book profile page where it breaks down our whole review of it. There's our personal staff comments too. Like a lot of folks on our staff will write like a little short 100-word or so, a little review of kind of our own personal thoughts. And there's a community review section, so you can kind of see how the community review compares to the staff review, which is currently sitting at a 6.3. I think that is going to be the final review of the book from the Utini standpoint. That is our official review. So unless somebody else on our team finishes it and bounces that number around a little bit, which kind of happens automatically sometimes, it's currently sitting at a 6.3, which is higher than Alliance's, I believe.
It is. But again, we'll go into our full thoughts on Thrawn Treason in a couple weeks when we do our round table. Now, before we take a quick break in a little bit, I have a game, guys. You know I love games.
Mm-hmm. We know.
I've done at least 2 of them. Corey loves games too. He's acting like he doesn't, but he fucking loves them.
I have so far enjoyed the games. I don't know if I would go as far to say I fucking love them, but they're entertaining.
I just want your approval, Dad. All right, so...
I just like winning.
Yes. Oh, I know. Because you guys are excellent at trivia, so I'm going to give you some awesome, cool games. So this game is just called... I didn't have a good title of it, so it's just called Drinking Buddies. And what this is going to be, I'm going to give the 4 of you an either-or situation. This is, you are out at a bar. We'll give you... You know what? In honor of Alice, we're going to give you the bar in Attack of the Clones. All right?
All right.
There's weird...
The Outlander Club.
Yeah.
Do you want to buy some death
Amazing.
Sticks? Yeah, you
the
should
Outlander Club.
My head. That's impressive.
That's amazing. No, dope as shit at trivia. It's incredible. It is a literal fluke that we tied. So we got death sticks in one corner. You got Twi'leks dancing because I guess that's what they literally always do in another corner. You got weird alien football on the screens, and you can drink with one of these people. So I'm gonna give you guys a bunch of lightning rounds. Just shout out who you think you want, and we'll see if we have any consensus winners. Sound good?
Do we shout at the same time?
Yeah, I think I say that, but I look at 4 people.
Good luck, editor.
Have fun guessing.
Well, here, how about this? I'm going to change the rules as I'm doing it. I'll give it to one person, and if anyone strongly objects or agrees, you can butt in with a rebuttal.
Wait, how do we win?
I decide whom is most enjoyable.
He is the Senate.
I am the Senate, Corey.
Okay, all right.
So then wait 30 years and I'll die, maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect.
So, all right. So, Corey, I'll start with you since you're on the left in this display of mine.
Okay.
Do you want to drink with Anakin or Han?
Oh, Han. Not even a question.
Han? All right. Anyone drinking with Anakin?
Nope.
I think I would maybe drink with Anakin.
He's so creepy.
He is creepy.
Well, we have to figure out which Anakin we're talking
Clone
about.
Wars Anakin. Clone Wars Anakin.
Oh,
the
fuck,
Phantom
I'm
Menace.
sorry.
The
You're
Phantom
right.
Menace.
Phantom Menace.
I forgot
Jake Lloyd.
It is Tatooine.
Why
There's
do you think
probably a
he's
lot of
so
strong
good at pod
drinking
racing?
laws.
He's just drunk out of his mind.
Okay, well, if we're talking Attack of the Clones era Anakin, then we're talking Attack of the Clones era Han too. So he's also a child.
yeah.
So
Like-
good job,
that's true.
everyone.
Okay, so here I'll
That's
give you.
true.
Let's do A New Hope Han and Clone Wars Anakin.
To be fair, people who drink with Han in the bar in A New Hope, things don't end up so well for them.
Sometimes
true.
people die, and I'm willing to take that risk. I'm going to go Han in A New Hope.
Yes.
All
there
right.
you go.
Agreed.
Agreed, Alice.
Concur.
All right, we'll take. All right, so sorry, Anakin. Go brood in a corner and think about your wife.
Oh. How old is he?
Nice.
Is he 19 in that movie? He's 19, isn't he?
Yeah.
Sure.
Ish.
I think he's 19,
I think
right?
so.
'Cause he's-
Yeah, that's
He's
right.
because he's 9 in Phantom Menace, and it's been 10 years since I've
Yeah.
seen her, right? So it's okay. All
And
right.
he's thought about her every day. Don't forget about that.
He's a cringy 19-year-old.
All right.
Weren't we all?
You've only grown more beautiful.
And Obi-Wan in the corner. Dude, shut the fuck up. Stop it. We're in an elevator. My God. All right, Alice, next to you. I'm going to give you Leia or Padme.
Oh, fudge. I think Leia seems a little more sassy. I really love Padme. I love Padme so much, but for a drinking buddy, I think she might be too serious.
Yeah, you think Leia might be down for shots, and Padme's like, I got work in the morning. Like,
Yes. Exactly.
Padme's just too uptight. I would go Leia too.
all right.
Yeah.
Sure. But I mean, I think my gut says Padme, because I think I like to drink. I like the fruity sweet drinks a little bit too, so I think I'd like to like sit and sip those on the Naboo beach. Whereas like Leia might be too intense for me sometimes.
Would
depending on what's going
Padme
on.
sit with you and drink with you at a bar? Period.
It's my game, Corey. But thank you for that honesty, you
The
bastard.
two of you are ordering
Not-
like, the pineapple drinks, like the pina coladas and the pineapples, and Leia's like, I'm gonna go get us a round of shots so we can have some real drinks here. Bye.
That's right.
Get ready, losers.
Yeah.
All right, excellent. Yep, agreed. Laura, Mace Windu or Yoda?
Oh,
Two
shit,
very different
that's-
experiences.
Oh my god, that's so hard.
And I bet Yoda could hold his own, man.
I bet he can hold his own, but he's also so little that, like, I mean, he can only take so much.
Well, that would hurt
So-
your neck to have to look down so much.
No, I'm gonna.
And
I'm
then-
putting Homeboy on a booster seat. It'll be fine.
No.
Once you
Here's
get
my
him
thing-
drunk,
Here's
once you
my
get him
thing with
drunk,
Yoda.
you can.
He's so old and he knows so much stuff. Like you know that he's got
Oh
the
my
best
god,
stories.
the drunk stories that Master Yoda must.
Are you
have.
even going to be able to understand him after 5 or 6 drinks, though?
Yeah, he would
Well,
start
yeah.
talking normally. He would just like. All of his sentences would be proper structure once he's drunk.
Exactly.
And ours would be like,
And-
Yoda.
And you could convince him to crawl into your backpack and walk around with him like you did with Luke. And that would
Yep.
just be fun.
Yeah, Yoda
He would just be
backpack.
your party toy. You could just like carry him around on your back, and he's a conversation starter, and it would be great.
He's like
I
a
also feel like-
Furby. You put him on the
Yeah.
car so that like raccoons and cats don't jump on it.
I also feel like Yoda, throughout 900 years, he has to have nailed the perfect kind of drunk. Because he probably had like 150 years as an angry drunk, and then another 100 years where he was sober, and then 200 years where he was a party guy. So he's really found his element, I think, by this point.
Yeah, as long as you don't catch him in like the sad drunk era, I think he'd be fun.
Oh God, he'd be so... Well, I guess for post-Revenge of the Sith, that's the sad drunk on Dagobah, just getting wasted by himself.
Yep.
All right, Charles, next to you, buddy. Kit Fisto or Ki-Adi-Mundi?
Huh. Kit Fisto or Ki-Adi-Mundi? I'm gonna have to go with Kit Fisto just because I'm feeling a real like island vibe. And like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, I mean, he sounds like Jamaican. Like, I can see that I can see him in like a Hawaiian shirt, you know, like top 3
Or no
buttons
shirt, like
undone,
Clone Wars
and
all
we're
the
just
time.
chilling on the beach. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
I'd go Kia-D,
Kit.
tomato, all the way.
Really? Why?
He just seems like so much more pleasant, I guess.
He would
Yeah,
be a pleasant drunk.
and
That's true.
the Jedi rules don't really apply to him. Like, doesn't he have a wife? Because
Wait,
he's
what?
Yeah,
I think that's a
legend.
Legends thing, so it depends on.
Yeah. All right, that's fair. That's fair. So I think, like, because his species, I forget what is his species again? I can't remember.
Cerulean?
Syrian or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway,
Korea maybe. Or maybe
the two brains,
It's Korea. They're Koreans.
They're Korean, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
It looks like Syria, but I think it's pronounced Korea. I don't know.
Yeah, so there's like very few of his species, right? So the Jedi have allowed him to like have a wife so they can, make more of the species.
Well, I watched The Phantom Menace
That's
the
why
other night,
Anakin
and
is
he's
so
got some
fit.
sweet pirate boots.
Ooh, drunk pirate boots are fun, especially if it's like Boot and Rally with Kiadi-Mundi.
I feel like every turn you'd be sitting next to him and he would just be like, but what about the droid attack on the Wookiees? And it's like, oh my god, we moved on from that like 10 minutes ago. Like, Jesus, dude.
We're over it.
Yeah.
All right, I think, you know what? You've convinced me. I think he wins this round for me, too. All right, a few more. Corey, Rex or Cody?
Rex. Totally Rex. Rex defied Order 66 because he's a badass. All right. Cody was just like, all right, Kenobi, kill that motherfucker. Like, no hesitancy at all. Like,
that's true. As a drunk, he'd probably be an angry drunk because that chip would activate in his brain if he drinks too much and he starts just murdering people.
Yeah. Yeah, that always really bothered me. Even in the Revenge of the Sith novelization, like there's not much, but there's like a little bit of a line like where you get inside of Cody's head. And he's like, of all times, I shouldn't ever have given him his lightsaber back or something like that. And then he like makes the order to kill him. Like he does not even hesitate at all. I'm just like, all right, no loyalty there. Okay. Yeah. Rex all the way.
All right, I'm going to agree also because Rex is one of my favorites. One of my favorite dudes. Like, you want to talk about war stories.
Yeah.
There is one time me and my brother's in the 501st. Oh, you know this one. Blah, 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 blah. And then he drinks. It's going to be great. All right, Alice, Poe or Finn?
Oh. Finn, I think.
Finn.
I think Poe would be a creepy drunk. I don't know.
Oh, you get a creepy vibe from Poe?
Yeah.
Aww.
I think he has potential to be creepy, whereas Finn I think would just be fun and lighthearted.
I just
Finn
want to know.
Finn would be like that. He would be like that guy that like has not really drank very much, and like you have to like teach them how to drink, and he like has way too much, and then he's really fun. That would be fun.
My thing with Poe is that he has such an interesting history where he like grew up. I think around, at least just in my head, I feel like he grew up around all of these, like around the Resistance and around like sort of the post. Like, I feel like he was in the same daycare center with Kylo Ren, you know? Like, I just want to, like, sit and be like, what?
Oh, my God.
I need to know all the stories you have about, like, your badass mom flying an A-Wing and how your parents were really cool and, like, the rebellion. And I need to know what young Ben Solo was like at daycare, like, when he pooped his pants the one time. Like...
Dude, give me Rugrats with Poe Dameron and Kylo Ren or give me death.
Yeah. We've said that. Like, give us Muppet Babies, but... the Star Wars
be spectacular. See, this one's tough for me because I think I have trouble separating my feelings for Poe from my feelings for Oscar Isaac. So, like, it's gonna be Poe for me. But I agree with Finn being like, "Ooh, this is a beer? Great! Do we have 7 of them?" Like, he doesn't really know what's going on, but he's really excited.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, look, these are shots. They're small. That means we should have a bunch of them. Let's do it. All right."
And then Rey finds him the next morning, like, "You idiot." Love that. Laura, Ahsoka or Asajj?
Oh, my gut instinct is to go with Ahsoka because I just like love her, but I feel like I would then turn into the creepy drunk. Like I would.
Because she's so like pure and great.
But Asajj must have such good stories. Like after listening to Dooku Jedi Lost, I'm just like, good God, I could just listen to you for hours, bitch. Like, let's do this.
I also feel like Asajj would be the best wingman ever.
That's true. So Asajj is so scary though. It would be like having...
Yeah, but like in a cool, like hot way.
Yeah, in a cool hot
like,
way.
If you want to
like
have drinks at a bar with a zombie, like a little bit.
Yeah, like
valid,
she's the kind of person that would have something to drink, and you like get to that point where you're like kind of poking fun at each other, and she's like, "You say that again, and I'm gonna kill you." And you're like, ha ha, you're joking, right? Like, yeah, you know.
Oh my God, maybe, yeah. I think I'm gonna go with Ahsoka for my personal safety.
Yes,
that's fair.
At the end of the day.
Ahsoka.
All right, last couple. Charles, Thrawn, or Tarkin?
Well, I assume that Tarkin wouldn't change because I think he's just drunk all the time, and that's why he wears bunny slippers around with his Imperial uniform. I would choose Thrawn, but I also feel like maybe he would be someone that kills your buzz. Like,
Oh,
he would
you
just
think,
start,
Charles?
I mean, he would just start
Would
explaining everything, and you would just be like, "Dear God, stop! Like, have another drink, please."
Should I have another beer? Well, if you drink another beer, your intoxication level would rise to a certain percentage. Okay, Jesus, dude!
But think about how you could put that tactical knowledge to use if you needed him as a wingman.
But
he could be
that
really
is
useful
fair.
there.
Also, if there's like a Pong tournament going on, he would destroy. Like, he would be so good at beer pong.
Yeah, or if there was someone you hated at the bar, like a mortal enemy, you could plot together on how to seek vengeance. Like, you know,
or just
throw a
use him to
banana
pick up
peel.
women. One of the two.
Or he would also get away the creepy guys, I feel. Like, if there's a creepy guy that won't leave your party alone. Like, Thrawn, you get this guy out of this bar, and you don't ask how it happened, but immediately he vanishes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, final one to you, Corey. Vader or Palpatine?
I was actually going to ask, has anybody in this group read Tarkin?
Yes.
You guys
Alice just read it.
Okay, is it in Tarkin that he talks about how he doesn't drink? I think it is.
I
Is
don't
it that
remember.
book? Or is it, maybe it's Leia, Princess of Alderaan? Because that's that scene where he comes to the house and everything.
Oh, yeah. At
So
Bail
Tarkin-
Organa, our Lord and Savior's house.
Yeah, because remember he calls out, like, Bria for having too much to drink. Remember? Because he
Oh,
talks
yeah.
about that's why he doesn't
right.
drink. So Tarkin actually doesn't drink. That's the only time it's ever been talked about in Star Wars, I think.
Ugh. Also,
Yeah.
who are you call Bria Organa, the saint that she is, in her own home? That's how you knew he was evil.
Yeah, that's true.
Just throwing that out there.
You said Vader or Palpatine?
Yes, I did.
I don't know, man. I'd be pretty scared to have drinks with either one of them guys.
Oh yeah, it's not
Can
a great
Vader
choice.
drink?
He has to put a tube into his breathing mask and it just like sucks in.
I don't know.
Those are called straws, Eric.
How does Vader
Yeah,
get
it's a
fluids
straw.
in his body?
Oh my
period.
god. Could you imagine if he had one of those like beer helmet things that had the two beers on the side?
It's like an attachment. It just like connects to the helmet and just feeds it in automatically.
Yes.
And he has to like make the beer flow with the force. Like he can't actually make it suck out.
Here's
Well, we
one.
do-
Sorry, I was just gonna say. Here's one for you. I would get drunk with Palpatine. I would get high with Vader.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, Vader could probably get high.
Oh
'cause,
yeah,
I mean,
put a
his-
bong right into his breather mask. He would just
Yes.
that
he'd
would
like-
probably work.
like, hey Vader, what's up? Padme,
You
is
could
she
just-
safe? Dude, no.
Yeah, you could just go sit in his little like egg chamber and like get hot boxed and be good to go.
Oh my god.
He would
He
just
just
be
hot-
sitting there like laying back, like, dude, Thrawn sucks.
Why didn't I kill him many times over?
Yes, that's exactly what it would be. I don't have any idea. I like that answer a lot, though.
I love that because I also love the idea of getting wasted with Palpatine at a bar, and they're like, "You need to leave," and he just goes, "I am the Senate. I bought this bar."
I own this now. It's mine. This is my vodka.
I have to finish telling a story first.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Well, I think we have a lovely drinking crew established. We're going to go have some drinks with them while you listeners listen to a Utini member break, and we will be right back.
The EU has changed my fandom in a way that has brought me closer to the community. Hello there, I'm Sage Goodwin, part of Team Utini. Before, Star Wars was always this thing that I watched with my parents and my family and my brothers. Then my brother and I launched the Star Wars Battlefront podcast, and that brought us into the folds of the Star Wars community in a way that had never been a part of before. Like most of the people that listen to this podcast, I'd grown up experiencing the movies and then experiencing the books. My first with the books and the extended universe on that front was through the Galaxy of Fear books. It brings another layer of interaction with the Star Wars fandom. Yes, we can talk about the movies and then, oh hey, have you read this book? Have you played this video game? What are your thoughts? I definitely think it's an awesome thing that this sector of the community can get along with. So yes, I'd say that the EU, the extended universe with the books and the video games has definitely brought me closer into the Star Wars community.
And we are back after our Hall of Fame legendary member clip. I gotta say, that was one of our best, guys. Maybe. Could have been.
I have no comment to make.
This bit has been going on for 15 episodes, and I guess Corey finally decided it should die. So, I understand.
You paused, so you could not let it die, but here we are talking about it still.
Talking about its memorial death. But, more importantly than my stupid bit and humor, is the next thing I want to get on to. If you listeners haven't listened to Force Toast, a Star Wars happy hour, I guess at time of recording now, 2 episodes back, Alice and Laura, you guys did a segment off of a listener question where you did drink pairings for Star Wars movies. So if you're watching the movie, what should you drink with, or what kind of drink does it make you think of? Which was hilarious and awesome. Go listen to that immediately if you haven't. So I thought it'd be fun for us to go through a bunch of canon novels and say, what are our drink pairings with them? So, guys, I'm going to open this up a little bit. This can be either the drink you want to have while you're reading it. It can be the drink that it makes you think, like, if there's an inspired cocktail, what would it be? Just kind of, what is the drink of this book? All right? And we'll do a similar round-robin thing to the thing we did with Drinking Buddies. If someone says something that's just fucking stupid, speak up, put them in their place. That's how we work on this show. And we'll go from there. Sound good?
So, Eric, something that I literally just thought of. This is actually not the first time that we've ever talked about like a drink with a book. Like, back in our Utini book box days, like when we were actually selling the books and shipping them out and everything.
Yeah, the dark times, right?
Yeah, the dark times. We actually talked about like making some cocktails and like kind of creating some stuff to go with the kind of the theme of the book. Do you remember that? We never actually did it, but we talked about it at one point, like maybe doing that. So like. Here we are, finally doing it.
We did it, guys. Make your dreams come true. All right, I'm going to go in reverse order now of my last thing, which only matters to me and my computer display, but listeners, you'll know what it means. So we're going to start with Charles, all right? You're sitting down, you got a drink next to you, and you're cracking open Lost Stars. We're going to start with a softball, all right? What are you drinking?
I think something that says romance to me, so I'm probably just going to have like a nice like Cabernet, like a nice red wine, something you would drink on date night, right?
Yeah, I like that. I'm
thinking more like a rosé or something. I don't know about like Cabernet. That's like Tarkin to me.
Ooh, I'm learning more about your individual date nights with that answer. I think more than Lost Stars.
I mean, Lost Stars is the quintessential young adult novel. I mean, it's sexy. It's got it's romance in it. I mean, that screams pink wine to me.
Ooh, okay.
Everything screams pink wine to you, Corey.
So my mind kind of went to romantic-ish too. Kind of just wanted to gag it, but I hate saying that word. And I picked champagne.
Also a good choice.
Ooh, yeah, and it's sweet. Okay.
I like that. I think I'm the only one that didn't go romance. I went, so for me, Lost Stars is the book that I always recommend to people when they're like, I want to start reading Star Wars books. Where should I start? Because I just think it's a good one for everyone. You know, it spans the entire original trilogy, and it's just a good place to start when it comes to the Star Wars canon reading. So because it's the book for everyone, I went with House Party Jungle Juice because I think that also is just kind of for everyone. You just grab a cup and enjoy the ride, and that's how I went.
That is often someone's first drink as well.
Yes, true.
That's an excellent choice.
And you're usually a young adult.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know what?
I don't know how much you know about our show, Laura, but we universally recommend Lost Stars too. That's actually our first recommendation always. So excellent.
But I will not. I'm going to agree with you, but listeners will not recommend Jungle Juice as your first drink.
I mean, I do. I do it.
I think I would actually.
All right, and Corey's a doctor, so I think that also counts, right?
Yeah. Well, listen, if they drink enough of it, they get to come see me in the hospital.
Yeah.
It just works out. Cute. It's just, job security.
My advice for Jungle Juice is to the listeners out there who are, I'm sure, super stoked about it. Make sure there's not Everclear in it, and then you'll be
don't
fine.
do that.
Ooh, yeah.
No,
don't do that.
no.
The frats like that for some reason. That's bad.
It's bad.
Horrible.
Bad
So
idea.
if you're sitting down and you're having a party with your friends, you all got your copy of Lost Stars, and you're making Jungle Juice in a trash can, that's the way to do it.
Trash juice.
I would pay good money to see that ever happen.
Corey, what the fuck do you think we're doing at Celebration?
I'm sure a brewery that we rent out is gonna love when we talk about having a book club. We're gonna mix up a trash can full of Jungle Juice
and read a young adult novel.
That's what you should do while you're talking. It's like a Miss America pageant talent.
Perfect. All right, Laura, I want to go to you next. I'm gonna give you Ahsoka.
Okay, so for Ahsoka, that was my first Star Wars canon novel. That was the first one I read. And so,
more Jungle Juice.
I know, right? So kind of along those same lines, I feel like everybody's like first cocktail is like either cranberry, this is mostly girls, I guess, cranberry vodka or like an amaretto sour. Like you feel so like sophisticated going to a bar your first time being like, I like an amaretto sour, please.
And
so
the bartender goes, ooh.
And they're like, cool, you must be 21 or 18 or you might be 13. Jesus, show me your ID. So for me, I'm going to go amaretto sour or cranberry vodka. Take your pick for Ahsoka. It's the first canon novel I ever read. I loved it. I've reread it subsequent times just because I like it so much. So I'll go that route.
I like cranberry vodka with Ahsoka.
That's a great choice. I totally agree with that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice one.
All right. Alice, Bloodline.
I picked a red sangria.
Ooh.
Okay. I'd like to hear your logic behind that.
Yeah.
I didn't write any logic behind that.
Okay.
So
Fucking red sangria.
I think the cover had red on it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
There's also
True.
bringing back the Empire, so there's some red for that. And
it's kind of hodgepodge of stuff that happens in that too, so it's a good mix of things. I can see that.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that book, and it's sort of like it struck me as something as like I feel like it's a very like refined Star Wars novel. It's just like it's just such a good book. So I went dirty vodka martini straight up.
Ooh.
Interesting.
See, I was gonna go. I also agree it's super classy, and I think it's like the really high class, and it's a little like after dinnery for me. Like it's a little more mature. I want to sit down in front of the fire, so I'd either have like a nice port with it, or I do like a glass of limoncello with it.
Ooh, I like the port or like a brandy or something. That's cool. Yeah, sitting down at the fireplace, staring
that does sound
into
like
the
something
flames.
that what's his name? Kefir? What's his name?
Casterfo.
Ransom Casterfo.
Yeah, that's like something he would drink.
Yeah, would Leia would barge in on him and say, "Listen up, fucking face. We gotta talk about politics."
As he's surrounded with all his Nazi propaganda.
Yep.
And really great liquor. Great. Corey. Corey, you're reading A New Dawn.
Give me a new book. That's one of the only books in this list I've not read.
All right, well, skip around. Let's give you don't like that one. All right. Okay, fine.
I'm also looking at Eric's list. So.
Okay, because I love you, I'm going to give you Thrawn. First Thrawn.
Oh, Thrawn. Okay, let's see here. Oh, man. The first Thrawn is excellent. Like, it's a good classic. I've not really prepped for this. Let me think. Thrawn might be a good craft beer book, actually.
I like
maybe
that.
a classic IPA would be fine with Thrawn, actually. I mean, it's in my top 5. I think Thrawn is, so I could see that.
I like a nice IPA with that because it's not the most cerebral of Thrawn books, so I don't need something too complicated. I like the IPA because it's refreshing, but it still has a little bit of body to it.
Right.
I'm not an IPA fan, so I went vodka rocks. Ice cold, like Arinda Price's Heart, and classic like Thrawn.
Yeah, I could actually totally see that too. Vodka on the rocks is actually a great choice.
God, that's what she drinks totally, isn't it? She's always got one in her hand. She's always clinking around the ice, so you know.
Yeah, stone cold bitch. I love it.
I just had to pick something blue, so I picked a blue margarita.
Okay,
that's good. Makes sense.
Thrawn would be, it's enticing.
It's like, welcome to the Fiesta, Thrawn.
Love that. All right, Charles, since Corey bitched out, can you do A New Dawn?
Well, I haven't read it either, but I'm going to answer anyways, Corey.
That's my guy.
It sounds like it's the book about a start of something new, so I'm choosing a morning drink. I'm going to have a mimosa while I read A New Dawn. I've had too much to read over here, guys.
because it's the first book in the new canon, so it's the start of something. It's the burgeoning of Hera and Kanan's relationship.
I
love
the idea of mimosa. That's a good answer.
I love that.
Have you guys read A New Dawn?
Yeah,
I've read it twice. I love it.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah, but I'm a big Star Wars Rebels fan. I'm a huge Canera shipper, like always have been. So that I've read that book twice. I love it.
You know, I'm going to take that off my shelf and put it on my book on my nightstand because I need a book to read and while I'm waiting on the next one to come out. So that would be a good one to kind of fill in the gaps. It's one of the few that I've not read.
Yeah, I put it's got some good basics in it, so I picked a basic drink, rosé.
Solid. Would Kanan like that more or Hera? Probably. What do you think? Who's drinking rosé in that relationship?
Kanan.
Yeah.
I was going to say Hera.
No, Kanan's a basic bitch. Hera's drinking vodka rocks.
But her heart isn't as cold as Price, though.
I was going to say Kanan strikes me as that person that's not really had a lot to drink and will just drink whatever you put in front of him and will be a big wuss about it the whole time.
I also accept that. All right. Laura, you guys just did an episode about this. I'm going to give you Alphabet Squadron.
I struggled with this one a little bit, but I went whiskey. It's that book
feels
for me
whiskey,
is,
doesn't it?
Wow,
It's-
whiskey book. Okay.
It's up and it's down. It's back and forth and character intros and pockets of action here and there. And I feel like whiskey can be real hit or miss for people sometimes. Like, so I just went whiskey. Take a whiskey cocktail or just straight up however you want to do it, but something with whiskey.
I picked a screwdriver.
Okay. That's a good choice.
Because
too.
the cover was yellow.
I thought it was orange. Orange juice.
and yellow.
But
cover
yeah,
of it orange.
but also like screwdrivers, spinny, ship falling, spinny.
Got
like,
it. B-wings, yeah.
Orange jumpsuits. Or
You
flight
drink a
suits.
bunch of them, you get spinny. Yeah.
Yeah.
I chose
what
one of
about,
those like cocktails that's layered out, like where the the different liquors have different densities, because it's like mixing all these very different type of people together into one team.
like an unmixed Long Island iced tea.
Or like, yeah, and you've got
Sure.
like grenadine on the bottom, so it sits on the bottom, and then you
Yeah,
build the
right.
layers of color on top of it. I
Right,
dig.
right,
I
right.
like it.
Yeah.
I also
could
like a
work.
Long Island iced tea for that because when I got to that book, I'm like, this looks good, and by the end, it really fucked me up. So it's a
Yeah.
good Long Island iced tea book.
I liked it because a lot of the Long Island iced teas I've gotten, like you just drink a little bit of them and you're like, this is garbage, all right? And then you just pour it out. So
And you
for all those listening, when I said I'm looking at the same list Eric is looking at, this is the book that Eric skipped when he said, "Oh, you didn't like that one." Yeah, okay,
I did.
Appreciate that.
So the next one, I'm gonna take one because this is one of my favorites that I know is divisive. The Aftermath series.
Yes.
Similarly to what Laura said, I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna go just with an old fashioned because I like the whiskey element of it. I love it's intense. There's a lot involved in it, but it's got a little bit more of a kind of classic Star Warsy vibe because of the scale. So I'm doing a really, really delicious old, specifically that my buddy Derek makes. If you're listening, buddy, you make a great old fashioned with either Makers or Woodford Reserve. That's my
Plus,
old
just
fashioned.
like the Aftermath series, if you order it, you know it's good, but you're gonna get made fun of.
I love it. Well, the first one's hard to get through, but it's
Just like an
totally worth it
old-fashioned.
for the third.
We're big proponents of the Aftermath series at UT. We do tell people that you have to read them, even if they are a little controversial for stupid reasons.
I really
but
like the
whatever.
second and third. I picked like a
Yeah.
wacky, crazy drink for this one. I've been thinking about Mr. Bones a lot the past couple of days, and just like him frolicking in the flowers, like, "Can I do murder now?" But then it changes a whole lot. So there's this drink I made for Pride Weekend once, and it's so dangerous. You get one of those like tubs of the rainbow sherbet, and then you put that in a big bowl, and then you pour a whole bottle of pineapple vodka or pineapple rum. Yeah, pineapple rum over it, and then you get 2 bottles of champagne, and you pour those in it, and then you kind of mix it up.
That sounds so
God,
delicious.
that sounds amazing.
That does
It
sound
is.
good.
Oh god,
You should just call that the Mr. Bones.
Yeah,
I love it because
I
you will
love
want to
it.
do murder now after it.
yeah, you've
Oh.
murdered yourself
If
basically.
you haven't read the Aftermath series, Mr. Bones is an old battle droid, like from like Clone Wars era battle droid, and he's like kind of pieced together. He's got an excellent personality. He might be the best droid that's ever been created in Star Wars books. He's super good and his fan favorite. He always makes it into like when Hasbro puts out like the Black Series like survey, like what do you guys want next? Like he always makes it into that. Like,
Yeah, 'cause he's
running a little
fantastic.
bit. Yeah,
as
he's a
he
great character.
should. I
Yeah.
wish we would have ended with Alice's answer because that was awesome
God,
for the
protect Mr.
aftermath.
Bones.
Mine was like start with 5 shots of whiskey to get through book 1. Like just take all of them, and then immediately switch to light beer for the other 2, so you can
Okay.
enjoy them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a night I've had plenty of times where you're like, I need to sober up, but I'm not gonna stop drinking like a bitch.
Yeah.
So I'll just go to beer.
Give me a Bud Light.
I have said the phrase "I need a PBR to sober up" many a time in Chicago, so. And it works. I think
Classic.
at the time. Alice, I'm gonna throw you Master and Apprentice.
I picked a lemon drop because it sounds fancy, but it's fine.
Okay, I like that.
Because Claudia Gray, her books are always really nice, and Master and Apprentice, I just wasn't a super huge fan of looking back.
Interesting.
It was good, but it's not my favorite of hers.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a white think I'll do a Riesling. I think just but a good quality, so it's definitely sweet, goes down easy, it's refreshing, and by the end of it, I still kind of feel like warm and good because Master and Apprentice is one of my favorites, but I was never quite like destroyed by it or like ups and downs of it. I just really kind of enjoyed it all the way through. So a nice classy Riesling would be mine.
Which
like
beer
that.
is it that goes with the most interesting man in the world? Is it Dos Equis?
Dos Equis.
Dos Equis.
I would go Dos Equis because, as far as I'm concerned, Rael Averross is one of the most interesting characters I think we've gotten in a really long time.
Listen, but Rael Averross has got to be like a
Straight up Tennessee whiskey there, Mr. Corey. Rael Averross.
Okay. I could maybe see the Tennessee whiskeys. I was gonna say like Busch Light kind of crap, but yeah, Tennessee whiskey that's a great choice.
Whatever he can spit into and make a pating sound afterwards. I think that's what Rael's gonna do.
Whatever goes good with a side of hookers.
Yeah.
So yes, Tennessee whiskey is an excellent choice.
Oh my god! Hey, speaking of our boy Rael. Let's see. Next was that Allison? We got that last one?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. So Corey, you're gonna Dooku Jedi Lost.
Oh, damn. Dooku has got to be like an aged red wine. Like
yes.
I went the same.
Yeah.
Same.
Okay.
Is
Like,
it because he fights with a glass of red wine in his hand?
Yep. Hell yeah.
Oh, it's like
yeah. Not even just like a good red wine, like a Merlot. I'm talking an age. Like
you gotta go in the cellar and blow the dust off of it. Like
right,
that's...
exactly, and that's the only thing Dooku is worthy. Like it's the only wine that Dooku will be willing to drink. Because,
the smug bastard he is. Don't let him drink alone.
That's right.
Nope. All right, now I'm gonna jump over this next one because I want to save it for Alice. Charles, I'm gonna give you Dark Disciple, my dude.
Oh yeah, you love Dark Disciple.
I love Dark Disciple, and I don't necessarily love the drink I chose with it, but as soon as it popped into my head, I was like, this is it. There is so much passion in this book. I chose Sex on the Beach.
Man, I think that might be the best answer we've heard so far.
I
Excellent
love that.
choice.
I have to read that book next.
It's so good. Yeah,
That's the entire review for it right there. It's really good.
Tremendous.
I put
One of my
French
favorites.
Martini because that's my favorite cocktail. So favorite cocktail, favorite book.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's great. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think I can't get over the Sex on the Beach. You're so right.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah, it's naughty. You know you shouldn't really have too many of those, but they're just delicious. Yeah, that's a
All
great
right.
one.
That's great. Laura, I want to go give you Rebel Rising.
So I haven't read any of these last 5 on your list. So
Oh,
I
no!
got nothing. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Can we give you Wait a minute. I've already forgotten. Jesus, I am. This whiskey's phenomenal. Sorry, Thrawn Alliances. I want to go back to because I did skip over that because Charles didn't like that.
Thrawn Alliances. I had this similar answer when we played this game on our show, but I'm gonna go. I think it's called a Black Velveteen, where it's Guinness and cider mixed together, but they're kind of layered on top of each other because it's really two stories in one book. So two drinks.
Interesting.
Okay.
What is that? Have you had that? That sounds very
Yes, it's delicious. Because as much as I like Guinness, you can't drink a ton of it because you'll vomit.
Yeah,
so
it's
and
so
I love
dark.
cider, and it's a really good intro to the Guinness if you're not sure if you're gonna like it.
The first drink I had tonight was a cider, so like that sounds
Yeah.
really good.
Nice.
Guinness and cider, interesting.
I think for Thrawn Alliances, I gotta go tequila because if I drink enough tequila, I'll black out and then I won't have to read Thrawn Alliances.
Why did everybody hate this book so much? I legitimately enjoyed it. It's actually the first sort of like prequel era content that I've enjoyed in a really, really long time.
Yeah. I think me personally, honestly, like my personal thing that I'm realizing is that I don't love the Thrawn writing as much, and I think it's just I want him to have more flaws. I think. And I think
Eric
that's
is
why
really
the book
beating
didn't
around
get
the
to me.
bush. He like really fucking hates Thrawn.
But I want him to. That's why I like the first Thrawn because he has more flaws. Like I want I want my protagonist to be able to learn something instead of just knowing stuff. Like the Padme stuff, I dug.
When I talk about it, I really don't think that much about the Thrawn parts of that book. My whole thing with that book is that I had not really given a whole lot of thought to like Anakin and Vader, and Anakin still being present in Vader, And like I just really hadn't reconciled that in my mind with that character before, and that book really brought that to the table for me, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. It just like really it was like a big mind fuck. So that part I really enjoyed. Honestly, I guess now that you're talking about the Thrawn parts of that book, I don't have a ton of memory of that. I really honed in on like the Vader Padme stuff more.
The Vader Thrawn stuff was hard to get through at times too, because like it's sort of I think we had a user even say this, like there was a strong feelings of like neutering Vader, if that's the right word to say. Like he like in his mind threatened to kill Thrawn like 5 times in that book. And it's just like, okay, this is Vader we're talking about, and Thrawn is like, I'm on a leash here. It's really dumb. So people dislike that, but I honestly, the vibe that I've gotten from the general community, like I said, go to our website and review the book if you disagree with us, because I want to know what the community actually thinks. The Utini team did not love it for mainly the neutering Vader reason. And Rick said there were 20 pages of Padme running through the woods. I have no memory of that whatsoever. But like allegedly that was in the book.
You don't like cardio in your books?
Yeah, I didn't hate it when we read it. Eric was probably the most opinionated about that book. When we read
and
it,
I do want to reread it. It was a weird.
I know we celebrate like how people can read books. It's really funny when we read the books at Utini. Like we all read them separately, and like we will occasionally kind of jump in together and have a little short conversation about something if we're at the same point. But we kind of let everybody get through the whole book to make their own opinion on it before we just totally make decisions about it. And it's very interesting because people will come out of books with totally different opinions, and I love that.
Well, I also think it's like, what did you read before or after? Because I read Queen Shadow immediately before I read Thrawn Alliances. So like the Padme handmaiden relationship was like so much different than it would have been otherwise.
And guys, although to harken back to earlier, I think we're actually all wrong. With Thrawn Alliances, we're all just smoking a bunch with Vader. We're getting really high. What are we doing? With Anakin because he's in pain all the time in that book as Vader, so we got to get him super stoned. Yeah. All right, last couple. Alice, I want to throw Rebel Rising to you then.
I haven't read it, so going with the default of Coors Light.
Weirdly, not a bad choice with Rebel Rising.
Dude, Jen would totally slam some Coors Light.
She would take a ton of Coors Light.
Don't we have to choose like a gin and tonic? Like,
just by default.
Think about it.
Like Saw goes like on her birthday, he brings her a gin and tonic, and like, I thought you would like this. It's like your name. I worked really hard to get it. Please love me, Jen.
That's actually a really good impersonation.
Thank you. That made Forrest Whitaker millions of dollars doing that voice. That's that was it.
Wait, say Bo Gullet.
Bo Gullet. Would you like to do shots with Bo Gullet? It's his birthday and he will take away your memories, but so will the gin. Like your name. All right, so that's, guys, I know what the next episode's going to be about right now. All right. Last two. Corey, because I'm loving you this episode, I'm going to give you Plagueis.
All right, Plagueis.
Your favorite Legends book still, you think?
It's up there for me. Plagueis is one of my favorites. Let me think. What would Plagueis be? Plagueis would be something that like not everybody has a taste for, right? Like something kind of weird, like old Scotch, maybe. Maybe like a 15-year 15-year Glenfiddich or something like that might be something that like Plagueis, because Plagueis is one of those books that notoriously shows up on people's lists when they're like, these are the books you have to read if you're going to get into Star Wars books, and I think that's terrible advice.
Yeah, like you're not getting that college freshman Scotch.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what it's like. Because Plagueis is a deep, heavy book. Luceno is such a heavy author. Like, his plots don't come together until so late in the book. Like, they're really tedious to get through. But I love that type of reading. But not everybody does. So I think it's bad advice to hand somebody a Glenfiddich. Just as it's the same way to do that with Plagueis.
I'm going to agree. It's thick. It's old. But it's absolutely good once you get to the end of it.
Yeah.
All right. And Charles, I'm gonna give you a little more love to finish us out. Kenobi, what are you doing with our boy Obi-Wan?
Kenobi, how I love thee. It's classic, Legends book, classic OT character, gotta be a classic drink. I think I would just have whiskey on the rocks.
Oh, I picked something fun for Kenobi.
Oh,
Because
really?
to me, Kenobi's just a lot of. It's fun, right?
Yeah,
Like,
space western.
Yeah. I picked a Pim's Cup.
Ooh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. Dude, Corey and Charles, do you know what a Pim's Cup is?
No, I do not. I'm just like,
I did
Your
what I always
faces
do
were like,
when I don't
"Ooh,
know.
interesting."
I'm just like, yeah, let's just ask questions. Can you explain?
So Pimm's is a British alcohol, or anyway, I don't even remember what it tastes like. I just know it's really fun. And
Yeah, I think it's very refreshing and cool and really good. But sorry,
There's
I
a-
said that
there's
moment
a picture.
was great.
There's a picture of it with oranges in it.
I like that.
It does look fun, but my head went to like Western, like the old saloon. You know, you walk in there with your like spurs clinging on your boots, and you walk up to the bar, and you're like, give me a whiskey on the rocks.
My brain went to
Or straight.
Tatooine.
Maybe straight.
Maybe straight. I went to vodka water because it's hot.
And the moisture evaporators from
Exactly.
Tatooine.
You need water.
That's the only thing they drink on
All they
Tatooine.
drink is water. Their booze is water. So
Yes.
You gotta give me a vodka water. Right. Excellent. So, dear listeners, if you go through these phenomenal books, play back this episode, listen to our recommendations. If you have drinks that you like to drink while you read, I don't know if that's a thing, but it definitely should be. Tweet at us. Let us know what you prefer. Now, before we get on out of here, I want one question we've talked about on Twitter for a bit, but we actually haven't touched on this show a bunch, guys. We haven't talked a lot about Rise of Skywalker, right? And we are 4 months, 2 weeks, like 4 months and a week away from the Rise of Skywalker right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna let that sit in for a second. Do we
It's so
think?
much
yeah,
closer than
it's
I thought it
amazing.
was.
I literally can't wait. We're gonna
It
know
seems
so
like we
many
just
things.
got the trailer just a few weeks ago, and that was months ago. So
Yeah, time is all relative. Do we think that anything, particularly in things like Aftermath, things like Alphabet Squadron, things like Thrawn, we're getting all these books now, do any of them actually point to something in Rise of Skywalker? Or do we think that we're going to get completely new info we haven't gotten in any of the EU?
I think some of like the third Aftermath book definitely could lend itself maybe subtly to what we'll see, because there's all the Palpatine contingency plan stuff. And I just tweeted today, my theory that I've had for like a year now is that they're going to bring back we've heard that they're going to tie in all of the movies into this one, right? So my running theory is they're going to go find some old battle droid factories and like pump up some battle droids to help them fight.
Ooh, that's yeah. Because I like the idea that Endgame brought in stuff from Thor: Dark World, so I love the idea of this movie bringing in stuff from clones, of like being like, no, there's the prequel stuff we're gonna bring in. So if you thought that you could only get by seeing a few movies,
yeah,
like,
and then like all the history with Jakku, like that's where all that final battle stuff happened, and I know. Do we know we're going to see it again, or we're pretty confident we're going to see it again?
Jakku?
Yeah. We're going to see sand.
Yeah, because we're going to, was it Panasa? What's the new planet?
I can't remember.
Began with a P. Pasana.
Yeah.
Pasana, that's right.
Yes.
That's the new sand planet. Because we got that one. We got the snow planet where Zori Bliss is. And then we got probably Endor, where the Death Star is.
No, that's confirmed.
Okay, Endor. Yeah, so... But I agree, Alice. I think it's possible that we're going to get some stuff from the Aftermath trilogy, like setting up the contingency plan so much, and then seeing the messengers again in Alphabet Squadron, seeing them again in the Battlefront 2 campaign.
Yeah.
My only hang-up is that I wonder what a movie-watching crowd, because, they have to assume that people are only seeing the movies. How are they going to explain things like the messenger and this plan while not dumbing it down for book readers, but still making it make sense enough for moviegoers?
Yeah, that's why I kind of have the opinion that I don't think that really a lot of the cool stuff that we've seen in the games and the movies and the games and the books and stuff are going to be in the films. Like I think that, as sad as it is, I think that the writers often don't do their homework a lot of times. Like it's really some behind the scenes crew folks like connecting with the Lucasfilm story group to make sure things are cohesive and like here's a cool element that maybe you should use. But I mean, I find it hard to believe that J.J. Abrams has read the Aftermath trilogy. You know what I mean? So like that for one, I think will probably cause a lot to not be in the film that's maybe in some of the books. And also, you know, like Darth Maul being at the end of Solo really threw fans for a loop. Even as huge of a character as Darth Maul is, as big as the Clone Wars was, like there was like an audible like, who the hell is that, like in the theater when I was seeing, you know, Solo when Darth Maul showed up. So I think the sad fact of the matter is the movies have to exist in like this own like private realm that often don't touch a lot of stuff that we know and love because not everybody else does that. So, you know, personally, I would be kind of shocked if we see anything major from the expanded universe in the film. Although I will say my favorite theory that I've ever seen so far in any speculation of the films is that Snoke is a Grisk. Dude,
that was me.
Yeah, man, I absolutely love that theory, and I think it's plausible. I think it could fit in nicely, and it would explain a whole hell of a lot.
Because like, why are we focusing on these guys in the unknown regions so much? And they're so all powerful.
They keep talking about Palpatine being worried about the unknown regions.
Yup, and like
it just fits. It fits beautifully.
Yeah, they seep into people's minds and make them fight for them. So
yeah, it would be very easy to retcon if that's not already the plan. Like,
yeah,
I'd be cool with that.
I read the most amazing theory today that I loved so much, and I cannot find it. I like just saw it like just in passing on Twitter, but it was something about. It's something that'll never happen. Never in 1,000 years would it happen because it involved a post-credit scene, which is like not going to happen. But the idea was that it was basically like the story ends and then we see there's like some weird kind of time, something that happens where we see like Sabine and Ezra and Thrawn in like the wild space in Ahsoka, and that's supposed to like set up a new like the next story or something. I wish I could find it. Whoever wrote it had like, they sort of like, they made a decent argument for it, and it would be really cool to see. Never going to happen, but it was just a really cool idea. I was just like, oh, that would be really fun to like be able to tie that in.
They have, I mean, because you're right, they have concluded the Skywalker saga, but they haven't concluded any of that Rebels stuff.
No, my thing is that because I love Rebels, and I just want one Rebels reference somewhere, which I think is it's again super unrealistic because I feel like we got one reference to the prequels in The Last Jedi, and we were all like the prequel people were grateful for that, and I wonder if we're even going to get that in The Rise of Skywalker.
I think we might get a Rogue One-esque thing, because I like the idea that there's a giant battle at the end. Like, we got Rey and Kylo fighting on one end, we got a giant space battle, and then we got a land battle, like, you know, kind of like pseudo Return of the Jedi. And I love the idea that Spectre 1 checks in, or like, you know, Ghost Squadron, or so, like, just that like Ghost Squadron, sick, Fireball Squadron for Resistance.
I would love to hear that.
Stuff.
Like, maybe not even, you don't even see anybody. Like, it doesn't have to be an actor or anything.
Admiral
like,
Syndulla. Why not?
Yeah, checking in or something just to get the original voice actor to do it. That would be so sick. I would absolutely love that. Because, like, wasn't allegedly the ghost in Rogue One?
Oh, it is. It's not even allegedly, dude. It's there.
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah, listen,
and
Rogue One is my favorite film. That's my go-to when I go to watch it, and I look for it every single time. I know where it falls, and I still miss it occasionally. Like,
there's a super cut on YouTube of all of the scenes where the ghost is in it.
Really?
I promise it's there.
I know it's there, and I know where it's at. It's just like, even when I'm looking for it, I have trouble finding it. So it's not enough for me. I'm with you. Like, I want
That's
like
funny.
A strong, obvious Rebels reference, and not just for a tenth of a second show the ghost on screen. You know what I mean? So I want to hear somebody's voice, or somebody ask a question. What about Ezra? Oh, I don't know. Nobody knows what happened to him. That's like the end of it, or something.
Or what if someone's like, do we call our allies the people, the Mandalorians, the blank, and just like list them, and then it's like, ooh, okay. So. Well, we'll find that out in a couple months. But with that, we are almost done with this episode. One last thing I want to ask, Alice and Laura, I want to put you guys on the spot a little bit, because I'm a nice person like that. Whenever we have people on here, we like to ask them a question about legacy, because Star Wars, at its core, is kind of about legacy, right? As at this point, I mean, we talked about the Skywalker saga's ending. It's the legacy of heroes, the legacy of stories. Everything that we as Star Wars podcasters try to put out is to help the fandom, to help this community, which is so awesome, kind of grow. So, once Force Toast to Star Wars Happy Hour is long gone, or whether you're in your 300th episode, what do you hope your legacy is to Star Wars? What do you guys hope that you put in that people look back and say, man, Alice and Laura, they helped us do blank?
Jesus, you make it sound like we're so much deeper than we are. We're
That's
like
the job.
We're
just here
shitheads.
to. I feel like we're just here to like kind of be silly and have fun. I mean,
that's a great legacy.
So this is the thing that Alice has said before, and sorry, I'm like taking this taking this from you, Alice, by saying this, but Alice has made the point to me a couple of times, and especially when we were first talking about what we wanted this show to be, is that we may not be the podcast for everyone, but we're the podcast for someone. You know, there are so many Star Wars podcasts out there, as I'm sure you guys are aware. And, you know, it's great that so many people listen to, like, many of them. It's really cool to kind of see that crossover in the fandom and see that community online. But we totally acknowledge that we're not the show for everyone. We're pretty vulgar, and we drink, and we swear, and we're pretty honest about our opinions about stuff. If you're looking for a show that's just going to, you know, constantly sort of be sucking up to everything that's come out, you know, we're not the show for you. Alice does these really great sort of salty, snarky recaps of Resistance. She still enjoyed it, I think, but you know, we don't pretend to be anything we're not. So at the end of the day, I think that my thing would be that people come to our show and find it to be honest and fun and funny and a sort of laid back trip.
Yeah, just be yourself. All good.
I love that.
I do too. That's great.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Everybody has their own sort of thing that they bring to this community. That's my favorite part of this. Like, no two shows are alike, even if we're all talking about the same thing. So, like, keep doing you, and it's awesome to see new folks in the community. We're just as new as you guys are, if not even newer. I think we actually are even newer than you guys are. So, like, you know, thanks for being on here, and thanks for doing what you guys do, and we'll have to meet up at Celebration again.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I think this was great, guys.
Absolutely. Now, before we get out of here, where can all our listeners find you? Where can they find the podcast? On Twitter, all that good stuff.
So the show is at Force Toast Pod. Alice is Sleia all day. That's like Leia with an S. And I'm @shutup_Laura. Those are our handles on Twitter and on Instagram for the show and for us. And our show's on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and so many others. And that full list can be found on our new website, which is forcetoastpod.com.
Perfect. And if you're in Chicago and want to get your ass kicked at Star Wars trivia, I'm sure you can find Alice and Laura wherever you decide to go.
Definitely.
All right. And with that, that'll do it for this week's episode of The Living Force. If you're new to this podcast, don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts, as well as to Force Toast, and turn into both of us every week to hear us talk about Star Wars Expanded Universe. Please leave us a review on iTunes to help people find us, and head over to utini.com for reviews, articles, and comprehensive book profiles on every single story in the Star Wars galaxy. If you want your thoughts on this show, go ahead, email us at livingforcepod@utini.com, tweet at us at livingforcepod, or join our Utini Discord community by going to utini.com/discord. You can find the three of us personally on Twitter. I'm at Eric Eilerson, Corey is at DocStarWarsMD, Charles is at C. Henkel. Now a special thank you, as always, to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor, Freddie, who's our producer, and Wes, our community manager. Thank you to Corey, to Charles, to Alice, and to Laura for podcasting with me this week. And as always, may the Force be with you.
There is no hatred. There is joy. There is no division. There is union. There is no apathy. There is passion. There is no gatekeeping. There is community. This is the Utini Star Wars Fan Code. Embrace it, live by it, and above all, trust in the Living Force. That's all for this week. Join our community and surround yourself with like-minded fans by visiting us online at utini.com. Until next time, may the Force be with you.